I managed to build a business that generates me over $348,000 every single year due to marketing online. Now, before I go into how I actually do this, I want to explain to you guys that I don't do shit for this business. Like, contrary to popular belief, I literally just let my ads run for my clients and just bill them every week. Like, literally, that's all I've been doing for the last 6 to 12 months, and it's generated me over $150,000 already. And it's like, it's not that complicated and that anyone can pretty much do it. It's just that people lack the actual knowledge and roadmap to get there. So in this video, I want to explain to you exactly how I built this business from the ground up, because it went through a lot of stages in the process that really kind of tested my ability to run a business, because I honestly didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. And that just further proves that really anyone can do this, because I can't tell you how fucking good it feels to literally auto bill my clients every single week thousands and thousands of dollars and literally do nothing to the ads, because I'm so damn good at running ads for people. Like, it's super simple nowadays and people just kind of fail to understand that. So let's go through some processes and go through an actionable roadmap that you guys can follow, and I hope you guys can take a bunch of value from it. The first thing I want you guys to understand before I even dive into this is that, like, when I was a kid, there was still so much information online about marketing and about building a company and building a business and becoming an entrepreneur. There was so much information out there that I didn't really know what to follow. And the whole goal for this channel is just to, like, help you guys with the right information, or at least the information that I have actually used myself. I don't want to fill your guys' head with nonsense and like leave you guys with a bunch of BS that you can't actually follow, because there was a point where I was like looking at YouTube and figuring out where to follow and find these good creators of people that were actually in it for the right reasons, and hopefully I can be that person for you as well. But let's get into it. So the first stage of building any business is, first of all, deciding what you want. So that is the first thing that I would recommend doing no matter what business you're trying to start, and just figuring out what it is that you actually want. When you become an entrepreneur, right? When you aspire to do something greater, when you start to try to solve a problem, right? And bring value to the marketplace, like, you need to ask yourself, what is it that I actually want? How much money do I want to make? What kind of people do I want to impact? And like, why am I doing this as well? So like, if you can figure out what it is that you want, then you'll be ahead of most people, because most people can't even answer this question, right? Like, they don't know what they want out of life. They don't know what their goals are. They don't know what their trajectory is. When you're in an ocean, right? Like, let's say this is an ocean, right? And there's a boat. To get to your destination, right? Let's say you want to get to this island that's way back here. Now, the logical step would be like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to go towards that direction until I get there, right? So that's how you do it. But the problem is that if you don't know what you want in the first place, then you're kind of just like letting the wind flow you in every which direction. And it's kind of not really allowing you to, go to where you want to go. Like, you'll never actually get to a place unless you know what you want and where you want to go. So that's the first thing I would recommend before you start any business. And it's super easy, right? Just figuring out what you want. And after you have that figured out, right? You know what you want. You have a good idea about what you actually want. You need to figure out how you're going to actually do this. So the way I've gone about kind of mapping this out for you is like figuring out a problem to solve. That's literally the next step. So the first thing, what do you want, right? Okay, next thing, you need to find a problem to solve. So I'm going to explain some super fundamental business stuff here that like you have to understand if you want to even think about making a business and getting to the point where you can make this much money, right? And it's that our goal, right? Whether or not you want to admit it, you want to make money, right? That's kind of like the end game. So how the fuck do you make money? So you make money when value is created, right? So that's how you can think about it. Like, when there's value created, that's when you can charge money. For example, I got a haircut yesterday and I went to there, it was a new spot, and I'm in Barcelona right now. So it's just a completely new spot, and I got a haircut. They offered to like do my nose and do my ears and like do my eyebrow. And I was just like, holy shit, why are you doing all this stuff, right? And I realized, like, they're solving all these problems, they're providing all this value. So like at the end of the day, when they went to charge me like 60 euros or whatever, I was like, okay, that's fine, because I just felt that the value provided there was so worth it that I was like, okay, yeah, for sure, I'm definitely gonna pay that. So that is how money is created, right? When value is created. To create value, you have to alleviate pain. And in my situation, it was one, having a bad haircut in the first place. That's the biggest thing. Which actually stemmed from not being confident and like all that stuff. So that's the pain that they alleviated there, right? Because after I walked out of the hair place, I was like super confident. So pain alleviated, right? This is the next step. So if you want to make money, you have to alleviate pain, right? This is what you understand so far. And it's super easy to alleviate pain. All you have to do is solve a problem, right? So basically, if we want to look at this like from a fundamental aspect, that's from like, 10-foot view, to make money, all we have to do is solve a problem. Okay. So it's super, super simple, right? That's literally the fundamental reason of how to make money in any business, right? That's all a business does. If you think about literally any business you can think of, all it does is alleviate pain, solve a problem, provide value, and charge money for it. So that's what you need to figure out. You need to figure out a problem that you think or you're passionate about that you can start working towards solving. Because like at your current state, right, you probably don't know how to solve any problems. Like that's probably the reason that you're on this video, or at least you've been looking around on YouTube to actually figure out how to do that. So you have to actually decide on a problem that you want to start solving so you can start working towards getting there. It's the same thing with the boat, right? You don't want to be aimless. You don't want to not know. So that's the next thing. You figure out a problem to solve. And now in the process, you know what you want. You have a problem that you want to start solving. And now the next step, right? I just want to remind you, like, this is literally aiming towards getting here. Like, you will get here if you do all these things right. So we have the first thing done, the second thing done, and this is all towards getting to this point. Now, third part. So now that we have a problem that we want to look into solving, we need to figure out how to actually do that. Now, I know that sounds like super, super simple and super easy. This video, I want to explain how I built this, right? So for example, my problem was that like, people have these great services, right? Roofers and remodelers, like they have a great service that they're providing to people. But the problem is that they don't understand social media and they're not able to leverage that for more work, because it's such an apparent thing that like they're great at word of mouth and they get almost all of their business through word of mouth, but like they don't know how to use social media. Imagine if they could like take that word of mouth and put it on social media. Like how successful they would be and how many thousands of dollars they would print. And that's exactly what I thought. That's the problem that I went to go solve. So how I did that was I was like, all right, so these guys are having this issue. Now, who, like logically speaking, who could I go to learn more about this problem that they're having, right? To do that, all I did was reach out to those business owners. The best way to understand their problems is to reach directly out to them. And I did that. I called up a bunch of these business owners and got them on meetings, not even to try to sell them anything or do anything like that, just to like learn more about their situation, learn more about the problem, learn more about their service, and just kind of figure out what the hell is going on and see if there's actually something here that I can help. Because obviously right now I don't have any skills, right? I haven't learned much yet, but what I have done is learned at least what these guys are going through and at least starting to understand my customer. Because if I can start to understand their pain points, understand their problems, then I will have that much easier of a time selling to them once I actually have something to sell. So the next step is to do a ton of research and figure out how to solve their problem, right? Once I've found out that like, okay, maybe I'm a good fit. Maybe these guys actually could use my help if I figured out something that could, change the game for them. So the next thing is figuring out how to change the game for them. Right? It's super, super simple. But what I did is go to basically courses and reached out to mentors and did everything I could to learn how to run ads, because we have business owners, right? And we're finding out now that like, okay, maybe these guys could actually use some of my help. So here's what I did. I reached out to them and actually offered a service. And I won't lie, my first client, I offered a free trial. Now, there's mixed opinions about free trials, and nowadays, like, it's silly, right? Especially, once I know it's possible and how I'm fucking really good at ads now. But in the past, when you don't really have that confidence in yourself that you can actually run ads successfully for these guys, it's really tempting to, do a free trial for them. So I basically did a free trial for a client, and through this process and plus courses and YouTube, and I used all this information from mentors, I was able to create a service that was actually worth charging money for. Right? That was the key pivotal point, because a lot of people, what they do is they look for, the information online, or maybe they even find the information, but because they don't actually have a client or two to try it out on, they don't actually know how well it's going to do, right? It always just stays in the back of their head. And it's like, okay, I have an idea about how to run ads, but like I've never actually done it. So I don't know if it's actually worth charging for, which completely destroys my confidence on sales calls and, my ability to book appointments as well. So that's what I did, right? I went and got that free trial client. I started running ads, and I found out, I was like, holy shit, I am printing these guys money and they're not paying me for shit. So what I did immediately after like 1 month in, I was like, listen, I have a bunch of other clients now. I didn't. And then what I said is, I was like, if you want these, results to keep coming in, then I'm going to start charging you $2,000 a month. And go figure, he said no, right? That was pretty expected. There was a lot I didn't know then. So that's what I did next. And at this point, I now have a problem, a customer base, a solution to that problem that I'm working on making better and better and better, as well as like a way to reach out to these business owners. So what do I do? Like, more. All you do is literally reach out to more business owners. So I started to learn more about sales. I started to learn more about actually how to talk to these people, how to get them to a point where they wanted to buy, how to challenge them, how to be present on calls. And that right there allowed me to sign more clients. So right then and there, at this point, I had, 5 to 10 clients maybe. I was actually delivering my service. They were providing, roofing to all these local homeowners, and I was making them a lot of money, and they were paying me a lot of money as well. But the problem is that at this point, I was spending all of my time working. So like, it didn't even fucking matter that I was making a good amount of money here, because I was spending all of my time working. I couldn't do anything with that money. Like, I literally spent 12 hours a day constantly, more, maybe 12 to 14, because I was managing the ads. I was reaching out to the business owners. I was taking the sales calls. So what did I do? I removed myself from the process. I hired a sales manager. I basically got appointment setters to do my outreach for me. And it got to a point where I was only fulfilling for my clients. But I learned a method with Facebook, right, that allows me to just basically not have to work at all. So what I mean by this is that like, Facebook is very, very complicated nowadays, right? There's a lot of technology, there's a lot of AI that they use. And with Facebook, what's great about it is that you can have them quite literally automatically do all media buying for you. So what I mean by that is like, they will optimize the ads for you. All you have to do is use CBO and DCTs. So I want to explain what that means real quick. So if you go through and make an ad campaign, right, in Facebook, so you go ahead, you create an ad campaign, turn on campaign budget optimization, that's CBO. And what that does is that it'll basically apply the ad budget for the ads at the campaign level. Now, here's why this is important. Because in the ad set level, you can create multiple DCTs, right? Dynamic creative tests. That's what this stands for. And each singular DCT has one ad in it. And in that one ad, you can test multiple creatives because it's a DCT. It's a dynamic creative test. So what's powerful about this is that you can have one CBO, right? One campaign for your client, and then just keep creating more DCTs over and over and over again until you have like fucking 50 of them, right? And what's powerful about this is that you can keep testing creatives and keep testing so many things out. And what's powerful is that because Facebook is so smart nowadays, it will only spend money on the ads that are actually working. So you don't have to actually like manually turn off and create new, like you just keep adding more and more and more and more. And that allows you to kind of just not even touch and worry about them. Like, you don't even have to fucking worry about your clients because like Facebook just does it for you. So that's what I figured out. And I was like, holy shit, that's overpowered. So I used that. And from now on, I didn't have to do anything, right? I was like, holy shit, my clients are, getting good results. Everyone's happy. And I'm no longer spending hours in my business, and I'm able to make a decent income and take home from this, And that all came from like reaching out to those business owners and actually just having that, having that like care and attention to like actually caring about their problems. Because if you don't care about the problems, you'll never be able to actually figure out the problem. You'll never actually find a solid solution. And that is the problem, is like most people's intentions are completely off. So now I had appointment setters at this point, right? I had all these things. The next step for me was to run paid ads. So I went ahead and, because obviously I can run ads, like I just showed you guys the exact framework. So I did the same thing for my own ads, and I was getting a cost per booking around $35, which is super, super cheap in this space and super good. And I was getting a calendar full of appointments. My sales rep was printing money. And ever since recently, I turned off the ads. I stopped like having the appointment setters work. I stopped paying them to make the business more lean. And I'm literally just charging my existing clients. Like, I'm not actively, signing new clients because I don't need to. Like, if you get good at fulfillment and you actually know what you're doing for these guys and you solve their problem, then there's no reason why you should have to keep getting more and more and more and more and more business owners. Like with most marketing agencies and businesses, like people think you constantly need more and more clients. It's like, it's not true. You can quite literally print passive income. I know I say that sparingly because like it's a huge buzzword nowadays, but you can make a lot of money, you know, 348K a year plus, just using your existing client base and not having to sign new clients. And the key is to actually just spend hours and hours figuring out that solution to their problem, because that's all this is, right? People spend all this time on like the outreach and like the acquisition process and like getting clients. But the thing is that like if you had a great product, clients just seem to fly to you. They just come constantly. They have referrals. Like you just get more and more clients if you have a good product, because people want to buy a good product. Everything is product based. If you have a good product, then naturally you'll just get more clients. You know, if your churn, you know, the percentage of how many clients you lose every month is higher than your referral rate, then like naturally your product sucks. It's not good enough, right? If you're getting more referrals than you're losing clients, then your business is growing naturally. Then you don't have to force the growth. It just kind of grows without you, right? And that's the key to building a sustainable business that pays you a lot of money. Just building that product, making it better and better and better, and keeping that, you know, all of your focus product heavy. And then things just seem to come, right? That's how this works. So that's all I have for you guys for this video. I hope that this was insightful for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.